Mr. Manager, and I heard or I received some unpleasant number when it comes to our city deficit for this year. I'm talking about 1920. We're 90 days from passing a budget for 2019-2020. Do you have an idea of what the deficit is for this year?
I don't
Added to,
I don't as of right now. I'll find out. I had a conversation with our auditors, and I actually gave them an item. It's actually a reconsideration of the accounting entry that helped create the deficit in the first place. Their response to me, they're reviewing it, but they won't get to it until towards the end of the audit. I assume end of January time frame. So by then I'll be able to give you a better sense.
when the next report for the COFA is coming out?
It is due March 30th.
Okay, but March 30. And but you anticipate it's going to be a deficit for this year anyway.
If they accept what I presented to them, actually no.
What do you mean accept what?
I presented them I presented them data, and it's kind of esoteric concept. They asked us to reclass $16 million of revenue that was recorded as revenue before I got here in one year. The revenue was associated with our agreement with Solomia, which, as you know, is a 200-year lease. Mm-hmm. According to General Gatsby and FASB, you should amortize that revenue over the life of the contract. Our consultant, Toussaint Pierre, that did the analysis for Solomia that you guys have all been shared, actually found in the contract there's specific language that ties that payment to a much shorter time period. And thus, when I presented them that information, they take a look at it, because then the reclassification they made us do would be a fraction of that. Like right now, we're amortizing $16 million over 100 years. That would actually, we'd amortize it over, I think it was like 10 years or something like that. So it'd be a very different number.
That's when it's going to affect
Our
this
revenue.
year budget
Yeah, it would affect our final revenue number for the year.
for the upcoming year.
No,
For the
year
past year?
the year we ended.
18-19?
Yes,
Okay, and that's going to
that would change
reduce
our
our
deficit.
deficit?
It would reduce our deficit.
Okay, if you said, but do you have the number?
No, I'm
if
talking
you
about
present the report,
No.
then
What I'm saying, it would reduce our last,
the 8 point,
the
$8 million
number
deficit
from our last financial statement.
okay. But at the same time, I understand that, and with that new thing that you're gonna bring to the auditor, but at the same time, what are you doing differently in order to
This year?
avoid another deficit?
Well-
Because I see you posted 6 jobs online, 6 positions.
So everything that's posted is budgeted, as we discussed in private earlier today. There are 2 police positions, a planner that is replacing someone that quit, and I forget what the 4th position was off the top of my head. Oh no, there were 2 positions in the utility operations, public works. So those are in our special revenue fund, and again, budgeted positions. You're asking me what I'm doing differently. I'm working with the budget director. We're monitoring all expenditures. I'm actually giving you guys monthly reports of your discretionary accounts. So I'm doing a lot of different things. So
I don't know what you're
Good,
talking about. I got a lot
but
of
on the, but
you're asking me what I'm doing differently. So
Yeah.
we're doing a lot closer monitoring of our expenditure. I've had even some department heads come in, oh, well, can I do this? No, I need to wait till after the first quarter's done, so we get a sense of how our revenue collection is done. So, or our revenue collection for the current year is done. So we're
but I
clamping down
heard
on-
they were talking about another $8 million deficit to add to that 8.
Again, sir, I'm the CPA here. I'm not gonna give a number and it change until I have the right number. And that, I won't have that right number until after the auditors have finished their field work.
Okay,
which will
but
be in February.
Okay, but based on what you just said, do you think this year we're not gonna have another deficit?
The current year we're in,
Yeah.
in the current year we're in, if we continue to do what we're doing, we should be at budget, because I'm following the budget that you guys gave me. You know, we obviously, you guys know there's some areas of concern that we had, because I talked to you in private about them, and so does my deputy, and we're working through those issues.
But from what I understand, it looked like we said, okay, it's not a problem since we have the Oaks coming in, we have Solemia coming in. That's mean we're gonna be okay. It's like we keep doing the same thing again and again.
Well, let me.
And,
I
and
I don't know
I don't
where you're
see
getting.
real
I don't,
change.
I don't know where you get that sentiment from. The real change that needs to happen is about looking at how our revenue collection is against our expenditures. We're sticking to that budget, and you know, I get, as you guys know, I get a lot of requests for things that are not there. We collectively have an agreement that if I get one of those requests, I'm to bring them back to you, and I will bring them back to you, and we will discuss them here in a public forum. And expenditure on hiring and all those things are closing. Again, we haven't
But I
even
remember
completed.
we
We haven't even
closed it.
completed our first quarter yet. We haven't even completed our first quarter yet. So, allow us to get into. And the first quarter ends at the new year, in the start of the calendar year. We'll have a first 3-month assessment. You'll get your actual report that will be presented to the
But
board
I
as
remember you
required.
said new hiring was freeze.
No,
when
we
we were
had-
when the budget was presented, you
No,
said you're gonna freeze
We
any
froze.
new hire.
Those positions were frozen. So what you see being recruited is still a budgeted position.
No, but I do understand that. But it was in the budget. But at the same time, you said, okay, we wasn't gonna hire any unless it was necessary and important that we do that. But I see 6, 7 position online,
I think it's 5. And again,
close to 6.
I mean, we can debate it. I'm just telling you, they're all budgeted, and
Because my concern is we had a $8 million deficit, and this year the number that I hear from you guys and are unpleasant. You wanna know who the city attorney say who? I have to disclose that.
I'm just wondering who, Mayor, because the manager's telling you that he doesn't know the deficit. So I'm wondering which.
I'm
person
allowed
you
to,
spoke
for the purpose of information, I'm
No, I'm
allowed to
just
talk
asking.
to
I'm
other
wondering
people.
who. I would like to.
Does the city have any?
As a person just listening to the conversation, sir, I was just wondering. I wonder who told you that.
it's all
Oh.
positions. Oh wow. Okay. So again, as we discussed earlier, the positions that are being recruited are budgeted. 2 of them are actually not even in the general fund. 2 are in the utility fund. The other 2, so there's 5 positions. 2 of them are police positions that you guys put more money in those budgets, if you recall. 1 is certified and 1 is trainee. You have 2 utility positions and 1 planner, and the planner quit 3 or 4 weeks ago. And so with regards to the positions that we froze, they're frozen, and we're sticking to that head count.
That's mean will you be able to tell us what is the deficit for this past year?
Last year, I told, after the field work and audit work is done by the auditors, we'll have a stronger number that I would rely on and be able to put out. And again, that's probably at least the end of January, middle February. But I can keep you abreast of it. So.
Yeah, because you remember the $8 million deficit. It was based on the COFA report because the administration never admit that it was a deficit until and they bring the number to our attention and the same people anticipate we're
I
gonna
would
have
debate
another
whether
big
the
deficit
administration
again.
said anything about that, because the first deficit year I brought to you because there was an incorrect accounting entry that was posted before I got here. That's what started the deficit to begin with. Last year, I told you, and you guys already saw this, the deficit was created because we did not get we were supposed to do a solar media sale, and we budgeted to receive
No, it
3
wasn't
million
the
of,
point. It's because you put it in the budget without us knowing about it.
you approved the budget,
It was misleading.
okay?
I don't know where we're going with all this tonight.
I don't either.
That's my report. That's why I'm the mayor of the city. I can ask my question. I understand. Nobody knows where I'm coming because I cannot disclose
No, you
with you
can't.
where I'm coming.
You can disclose
It's
the name of
report.
whomever is speaking to you, and if that person feels that they're a whistleblower, they should act like a whistleblower and go file some report, not come with something after the fact saying, "Oh, well, I was gonna be a whistleblower." If somebody sees something, if you're in the sound of my voice and you see or know something about this city's
We're not
finances
with- that's
that
not-
isn't known to us, do something about it.
That's not what it is. We're talking about the budget deficit. The number gonna come out. Let's start working on the number. There is nothing that there is no secret.
Right.
We're talking about there is no whistleblower. It's not. We're not talking.
But you're
We're not
saying somebody
saying
is
that
giving
people
you
are giving
information.
bad. No, we're not.
Is that
We're not talking
somebody
about
is-
wrongdoing. We're
Right.
talking about numbers that gonna come out.
Right.
And they
But
start based on the report. They start getting.
If a
I'm-
staff member is telling you there's more budget holes and problems than we've been made
No,
aware
no,
of
that's not what it is. There's a CAFA report that's gonna
Right.
come out, right?
In March,
In
right.
March. I'm pretty much sure we already meet with the auditor.
So is the auditor the one who's telling you
I'm
this?
pretty much sure you met with them, all of them.
I haven't met with
And they
them
start getting numbers, and the numbers is being provided by the finance or other departments. I say based on number coming in, based on talk of employees to the auditor. That mean we may face another big deficit. That's what I'm talking about.
So is it the auditors that
That's-
are saying this to you?
Listen, don't put word in my
Well,
mouth.
that's why I'm trying to get the word out of your mouth. Who is it?
That's a report. It will come out.
Okay.
What's important is what we're gonna do to reduce the deficit. I think that's what's important, and we cannot just rely on selling the Oaks and Solemia in order to balance our budget and reduce the 16 or 15 or $10 million deficit. That's what I'm discussing now, and you are gonna say something.
No, whenever you're
My
ready, I'm
concern
ready
is
for my report.
is another blow on the budget. That's what I'm discussing, and that's what's scary. And I don't see that the administration is doing anything different to address that deficit. When
But
in
that's
March we have the CAFA, and then
Mr. Mayor, that's a heavy thing to say, and without knowing where you're getting
that's
your
everything to
information-
say. The
Right,
same way
that's right.
the public been saying we have a big deficit, and
Right.
nobody wanna admit it until
Right.
the CAFA said it's $8.5 million deficit, and we have to swallow that. It was election year, we swallow it, but now there's another one coming in.
And that's, I hear what you're saying. I'm going to agree with you. There's one coming. I'm basing that totally off of your information, but I don't know where you're getting your information.
will get
So if you want,
okay.
so
It's
the report-
coming.
Okay, the report is coming in March.
It's coming.
It's December. It's the holiday, so we got to wait another 3 months to figure out what that is. So
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.